Hello, welcome to this video which is going to be looking at an introduction to the contribution that technology can make to the assessment process. So basically we've had technology in assessment for quite a while. In 1995 the Open University were using electronic assessment with both tutor marked assignments and computer marked assignments. Tutor marked would be a submission that such as an assignment, such as an essay or something, that the tutor would then mark a bit like the traditional style, but we would call that as a teacher enhanced assessment in the fact that it's done electronically rather than posting, although sometimes they were done by hand. And CMAs, computer marked assignments, that's where the assessment is purely online, such as an exam, choosing questions and writing answers and getting instant feedback. Gilly Salmon is quite important to mention here. She championed the development and use of technology for assessment, and her groundbreaking work still dominates and influences the role of technology in education. The recent pandemic of COVID has seen a massive switch to online delivery, learning and assessment, mostly as technology assisted assessment, which I'll come to in a minute. It has provided a view of what most people would note as the education of the future, although I and many others would argue it should be the education of today, and it's not really that new at all. Just very quickly, just to show where we are in the world, there's 4 communication paradigms. We're in the number 4, the internet, this connected world that we live in. Writing and printing have been around for a very long time now. So as a society, we're in the 4th paradigm. It's changed everything that we do, including the way we communicate, work and shop. We don't really send letters anymore. We send emails, and we rarely write at home or in the workplace. We're using technology, we're using typing, we're using keypads, phones, tablets, laptops. Yet for some strange reason, educational assessment still focuses on written, handwritten communication. So, just to note strengths and weaknesses, some people have argued that there are drawbacks to it. Now, these are especially noted by Cravels, and if you do any kind of work on assessment as level 3, 2, 4, whatever, you're likely to come across the work of Anne Cravels. So she's noted some weaknesses here, or drawbacks, which I'll discuss, although these were already discussed in depth back by in 2002 by Gilly Salmon. That's almost 20 years ago. So increased plagiarism, so this is taking other people's work and presenting it as your own. And the argument is that there'll be far more cut and pasting and that tutors will have a lot more trouble. Well, actually, people have been copying for years. They've been copying out of books, presenting it as their own. But actually, I would argue that increased plagiarism is less of a risk and is easier with technology, because we've got access to plagiarism scanners such as Turnitin or Plaque Scan, and there are others, and it makes it a lot easier for markers to see whether or not work is somebody else is being passed off incorrectly. There's an argument that they take time to create. Well, yes, all assessment methods take time to create, and e-assessment probably does. However, the thing is that it takes more to create in the first instance. So if you're going to create an online question type exam, which is totally online, well, yeah, first time out it will take a lot of time. However, it is easy to adapt. You can adapt it each year by just changing one part. So at the first point, yes, it takes time to create. However, in the long run, they're actually easier and take less time. Learners are afraid of technology. Well, this was something 20 years ago, but has reduced dramatically. More people than ever are using mobile phones and the internet, shopping online, banking online. More than ever, we have less concern and being afraid of the internet. It still does exist, but nowhere near as huge as it was. Power cuts. Well, that's an awful choice for trying to come up with a drawback. I'd argue that if you've got a power cut, it's just as hard to write in the dark, and if you're going to do some kind of visual or audio performance or whatever, that's just as difficult if you don't have electricity. Finance required. Well, yes, certainly this was a major issue. It's less of an issue, but it is still an issue. You know, laptops, especially Chromebooks, are not as expensive as they were. Nearly everybody has a mobile phone these days, and phone access is possible in libraries, and internet access. You can go into not phone access, library access to free computers and to the internet, and many providers will also provide an access or loan to equipment. There are lots of community outreach educational providers who will actually take technology for the learners to use during the session. So I think this is becoming much less of an issue than it was. There are plenty of advantages. They can increase the choice and flexibility in method. We don't just have to rely on written pieces of work. You can change the timing and the location of the assessment. We don't have to be set by a set time. There are plenty of options where learners can do the assessment in their own time. It benefits learners who have difficulties due to distance, disability, illness or work commitments. So if somebody's disabled and they're stuck at home, or they're a carer, or they live in a rural location that's hard to get to where they would have to submit their work or attend an exam, well, they can do them from home. They don't have to travel. It can reduce marking time. A written assignment takes time to gather, take home, but with an assignment that's submitted online, it's there, it's instantaneous. The tutor can then go to the marking a lot quicker. And we can reduce the need for paper. We can stop chopping down trees needlessly. It enables and captures a breadth of knowledge, skills and experiences that are not easily assessed by other methods. We've been assessing so often with written assignments or drawing. We are limiting people's choices. So those people who are not necessarily strong at writing, those people with dyslexia, dyscalculia or other issues, can have different methods. We could have oral presentations, verbal presentations, video presentations. We've got more choice, and that helps enhance inclusivity. It provides instant and individual developmental feedback, and we're going to see this in just a moment with some samples that I'm going to show you. But the whole point about assessment is the bridge between teaching and learning. It's how we and you and people know that learning has taken place. So really that assessment needs to be as close to the teaching and learning as possible, because if there is an issue, you can then go back to teaching and learning. So, and really assessment is as important as the teaching and learning. We should be giving as much thought to it as we do to teaching and learning, rather than just, oh, we'll write an exam at the end of it. So the sooner that the developmental feedback can come, then the sooner it has effect. So once somebody puts an answer in, they'll see some feedback coming almost instantly, and that then gives time to do something called learn from it or see it in action. It improves the administration and the quality process. The quality process is internal, where you get somebody else within your organisation that's checking the marking, but also to an external, to the awarding body, where you're sending out samples of the work to them. Now that takes time, but actually it's quicker. If they are, when you're using virtual online learning or in Teams, whatever, the IVA, internal verifier, and the external verifier can be given access to your submission areas on those pages or whatever. And that means that they can see the learning and the feedback as it happens directly. What's more, instead of, providing a sample, the external can see all of the work and choose their own. So that improves the quality, because they're not just like cherry picking work that could be sent to the external quality assessment process. Administration is improved. The admin people can see, oh, this learner's finished, this learner's attending, here's the register. And it's instant. I don't have to download my register, print it out and send it off to somebody else. It's there. They can be part of that directly. Okay, so virtual learning environments, so these are things like Moodle, which we'll look at a little bit later maybe. We'll also be looking, there are other ones such as Google Classroom, Canvas and Blackboard, and they allow for online submissions of written, visual, audio files. They can also have quizzes, assessment tools such as portfolios. You've also got other methods such as MS Teams. MS Teams can be set up in a class format, and therefore you can also then do assignment submissions into it. You can also do student books, class books. So, and these would be collaborative documents sitting within OneNote. So as soon as somebody writes something, the tutor can see it. At the present, technology enhanced assessment is still primarily used for a formative assessment, although there is no reason why summative and initial assessment should be used less. I'd argue that we're seeing more of the summative initial assessment with online and technology now than ever before, but it's still primarily used for formative, and that's not much of a problem because formative assessment is the big thing. That's what really matters, those instant formative assessments that help the learning enhance in action. I've used term technology enhanced assessment or technology enhanced learning, so that's where technology is assisting the assessment and tutors are quite often still involved. Online assessment is instantaneous, so that's when as soon as you put your answer in, you're able to get the feedback and you'll get the results directly. No tutor involved, it's all programmed. Right. We are currently in one, so here's some books, some samples. So what we're going to just look at is something called Neopod. So Neopod is a cross-platform application which engages learners with interactive activities. But more importantly, those interactive activities are enhancing assessment. Primarily formative, but it can also be summative. So some samples within there are memory tests, matching pairs, collaboration boards, questions, polls, draw it, quiz, time to climb. I'm going to show some of those, not all of those, because I don't want the video to be too long. So with memory test, it's about clicking to find pairs, etc. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm just showing you that can have value. It depends upon your teaching and learning. This is a very nice one. Now this is where you can see instant feedback. So with this one, I've got to match the word to the number. So number 1 to number 1. Oh, I got it right. Number 6 to number 2. Instantly didn't get it right. I'm going to try again. 2 to 2. 4 to 3. No, well, that's not right. Is it 3? 3. 5, 5, 6, 6, 4. Right, and there we go. And it shows me I've done, and it shows me how many tries, and I can go back and redo it if I want, but I'm just going to continue. I'm going to show you this from a tutor's point of view in a minute. There are things like collaboration boards where I can just post notes. So we could use these for in-session discussions or getting people's. You might be at the start of a session and you might ask, so what do you know about this? So you can assess some prior learning. Nice little initial assessment. Questions that you can put directly in, and with these, in this particular case, this is a picture. I was asking you who that is. You write a question in there. 1, 2, 3. Things like polls. Oh, so this is remembering what's already been answered. I forgot that I'm doing this way. So you would just pick an answer. So I'll pick rugby. Oops, my head's in the way. I won't worry about that one. It's a nice one for geography. You can put a picture and put some comments on it. Time to climb is a... Sorry. It's the question and answer one. So with that one, because I've done it before, you're not seeing it. What it would do is it would come up with questions. You've got a choice of answers. You're clicking on your answer. You'll get instant feedback to tell you which one was the right answer. And then we've got books. These are some of the books that I looked at earlier. All pretty good books to use for this. Okay, and that's it. Now then, from a tutor's point of view, the tutor, whilst that's taking place, would see, so this is the activities for the matching pairs. This is the collaboration board. The tutor would see it as it's happening, can share and send that board out to learners. These are the answers. This is the poll. This was the one that was submitted. You'd see them in action. And then with the quiz, I would see the answers, but I'd see those answers on a report. So what I can also do is print out a report and have that sent, and that would give me a breakdown of all of that. So it gives evidence of that formative assessment, but also the students are getting that formative assessment directly. Interesting, the last one, the time to climb or quiz or questions, could actually be summative assessments. They could be part of a proper full-on assessment. So what I'm just going to do now is pull up a sample of a Moodle. So Moodle is a virtual learning environment, and this one's with Adult Learning Wales, who I'm doing some work for. So I just want to show you very quickly. So with this, there has been set up, for example, so in this one, the tutor would be, the learner would just be clicking on that and putting it into a box to submit their work. So this is technology enhanced assessment, and then the tutor would then be able to see that and mark it directly. But we can also add different methods, so there could be PDFs that get annotated, worksheets, and we can even do, that's the one I've got so far, but we could even do quizzes, which I think can be used for setting up almost for an end of course type quiz, essay type, summative assessment. So that's it. That's a taster of some of the things that we can do. I will be doing some in-depth ones if you wanted to know more. If you've got any comments, please drop them in the box. Thank you very much.